Hey guys, and welcome to another brand new video. In this video, we actually have some pretty fun news when it comes to the next upcoming Xbox console, and as well also a brand new update where there's been like a huge major division change and also future longevity changes when it comes to the Xbox console. Now, as you guys probably know, Xbox has had a few kind of cool things where number one, they've always wanted to focus on game preservation, making sure games are good, and as well for future consoles, making sure their games or their consoles are actually running very strong to make sure their games can run very, very well. Now, when it comes to Xbox 2, they have been on this weird kind of trying to figure out their way vibe, for lack of better terms, where they don't necessarily know if they want to go to Game Pass, if they want to go and be a good console, if they want to focus on this, or this, and it's all kind of the same thing when it comes to Microsoft, the parent company, where they've been trying to focus a bit on AI these past few months, how they can integrate AI into its system itself as a whole, and on top of that, like what they want to do to make a profit outside of other various things besides AI, like server hosting, cloud hosting, Xbox, and Windows, and all of that type of stuff. So we have some intriguing things coming over here for the future of Xbox. Let's go talk about it. Make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on, with the Twitter and Twitch room down below, and let's dive on into it. So very first and foremost, there was a pretty big next generation console leak, which is very, very small, all things considered, but still very intriguing to see nonetheless. Now, when it comes to consoles, we've been seeing also, once again, a little bit of stuff up in the air. Xbox did go on public record a few times stating that they did not really want to have a mid-generation refresher. Some folks were also saying on the legal documentation and just public opinion that they may not want to be working on the next console. So think like the next generation console, like the PS6, Xbox, whatever they're going to go call it, which is kind of funny because I don't think anyone really knows what they're going to even call it in the first place. Xbox, I do think, has probably some of the worst naming out there, but either way, basically right now, it does apparently seem like it is confirmed that the next console is moving, where the Xbox moving full speed ahead on their next upcoming next generation console, and they're looking apparently for the future and as well as on the past. So two kind of big updates is that number one, it does seem like there is going to be a confirmed next Xbox console, which is nice to hear, especially if you guys are on the console side. And as well, there is apparently big news too when it comes to game preservation. So basically, Microsoft is moving full speed ahead on its next generation console. An internal email from Xbox President Sarah Bond has revealed. The email, obtained by Windows Central and verified to be genuine by Microsoft, also announced the formation of a game preservation team at Xbox. So we are moving full speed ahead on our next generation hardware, focused on delivering the biggest technological leap ever in a generation, Bond said, reiterating comments made in February when the console's existence was officially announced. So we've seen a few different things. Like I said, back in prior core documents, they were saying it was never going to exist, no refresher, no next gen, but anyone with the brain would probably be assuming that there will be another future Xbox no matter what. If PlayStation's making consoles and Xbox is still selling millions upon millions of them, there is going to be a next generation almost no matter what. Now, the specs, how much they're marketing into it, how much they want to go and actually give people, like price points, all of that is more of what's up in the air. I've kind of said a lot of videos, maybe the next 10, 15, 20 years, the Xbox may eventually be tapered off as we kind of move a lot more towards PC, etc. But right now, these next few years, we're probably going to see much more. Like, it's going to happen, like, no matter what. But either way, they are saying that there hasn't been much more information regarding the hardware itself, nor when fans might be able to go get it, but documents leaked in 2023 suggested that they did want to have their next upcoming Xbox Series X2, or whatever it might be called, in 2028. Regardless, with Microsoft seemingly making its own development a priority, it will likely be available sooner rather than later. This also probably depends a lot on the PlayStation, because we do have a PS5 Pro coming out ideally this year, and then a lot of rumors where there's going to be a 2027 release for the PS6. So we don't necessarily know, because these are all like up in the air, things can go and change, game development time, funding, money, the gaming landscape as a whole can always go change quite a bit. But they're saying one bigger thing to note is the long-term preservation of games is also important. Now, when it comes to the next upcoming Xbox, one big thing they kind of stoted on a lot is that they had better technology, like in terms of the PlayStation, obviously the Switch, or you technically get a better bang for your buck in terms of what you get. Like right now, technically the Xbox Series X was always a slightly better console, with the PlayStation 5 focused more on SSDs and being optimized and more of their actual games themselves, like the PlayStation Studios games being fully optimized better. So it's kind of like the trade-off. So once again, I do think they're trying to make that big value push of like, hey, our Xbox Series X2 is going to be a way better console, a way nicer console with way better specs, and you're going to like it. And which is also hasn't really worked out with them that well for this generation, to be fully honest. I do think the Xbox is still a nice console, but I do think it also it kind of needs games. It was going to make sure the games are running good and they're well optimized. Think Redfall as a perfect example. You'd have a cool game, but if it's not running well, not optimized well, and has a lot of bugs, and also just an unfun game, you may not have the best long-term experience. But one thing to kind of big note is that we want to focus on this Xbox game preservation too as well. So we've been seeing this. So basically they've had AI, as I mentioned, and AI has been a really big focus for Microsoft these past few years. And while that's nice, we don't necessarily know where it is fine-tuned into Xbox yet. We've seen a lot of issues when it comes to Xbox using AI to like deal with community support and ban reports and all of that, which can definitely run into quite a few issues. But Xbox basically just maybe is trying to go make it more utilized for game preservation, which I think seems really cool. So we also did have one of the long-term executives also leave. Kareem Cloturi departs after 26 years. But basically, there is a brand new division now where the Xbox Emerging Technologies team, which was basically working on AI, and like I said, AI is very integrated into Microsoft as a whole, has now actually been moved under the hardware division. So instead of them having like maybe working on different types of things in terms of like software specs or like let's say ray tracing optimization, filling in the blanks for games, maybe working for character dialogue or whatever might be utilized for AI, it seems like they're switching that now to hardware. Interestingly enough. So the new organizations include the Xbox Experience and Platforms and Dedicated Preservation Team, which is very intriguing. So it maybe actually might be utilizing AI to preserve games as a whole, which I'm not going to be honest, or I'm not going to be dishonest. I think that's cool. Like, I really think that's a cool, nifty feature. AI as a whole, when it comes to, like, let's say making landscapes, I'm not against it as long as it doesn't feel AI. Using for dialogues, maybe depends. You're taking away from jobs from voice actors, iffy. But let's say you own the IP, so say from Xbox, and you go and have old school games like, say, Fable 1, and you can somehow utilize AI to basically just go and copy and paste the game. If that doesn't give you like a really shoddy product and you're all kind of basically locally sourcing it from your own game materials, I don't think I'm against that. Now, obviously, if it feels AI, doesn't feel realistic, or can be done better with the real team, or as well maybe integrate a real team to kind of fix up any issues that AI might push into, I would maybe be okay with that. Now, there's a very big asterisk there because obviously if you kind of give a lot of companies like an inch, they'll take a mile, and then you have one okayly done AI game, and then every game's AI, so you never want to give them too much. But it's intriguing to go and see because they have been changing stuff behind the scenes, including the creation of 2 new teams dedicated to experience in the platforms as well as the game preservation. So Windows Central reported that the Xbox Emerging Technologies, a relatively new team believed to be the primary focus of AI, has now been moved into the Xbox hardware division, which is led by Rowan Stones, in order to accelerate innovation in that space in terms of hardware. Now, this could also be integrated for, let's say, the PlayStation. They have been trying to use like their super sampling PlayStation technology stuff, where they're basically using AI to fine-tune the graphics cards and the hardware to make the games run better and are more better optimized, which I do think is a very intriguing system at the end of the day. So, I mean, this could be like them trying to just compete with that, basically using AI to make these consoles better. So very intriguing to go and see this as well. So basically, the emerging tech was previously led by the corporate vice president Kareem Cloturi, who now departs from Microsoft after 26 years. There's the previous CVP for cloud gaming and oversaw Xbox entry into gaming streaming space. There are also 2 new teams within Xbox, one being an organization known as Xbox Experiences and Platforms, which is said to be focused on improving the overall user experiences on both Xbox consoles and Windows. Is led by Ashley McKissick and Kevin Gamel. So there's also an internal email, as we mentioned before too as well, stating that they are focused on ensuring these titles are playable on future Xbox devices, which kind of goes back to the Xbox like Pro Xbox 2. We have formed a new team dedicated to game preservation, important to all of us at Xbox and the industry itself. Bond wrote, "We are building on our strong history of delivering backwards capability to our players, and we remain committed to bringing forward the amazing library of Xbox games for future generations of players to enjoy." So this is really cool. They're basically either going to utilize AI or have a peer-specific team for it, or a mixture of both, to make sure all games are going to be available on future things. It's always kind of been Xbox's shtick, where they want to make sure you have really good game preservation, and they've kind of built their system on this. Like, the architecture for the Xbox is very similar to PC, so you can basically plug and play most games very, very easily. So I do think the future of the console has good potential with better hardware, and as well also very nice to see for future game preservation, just for general PC users, Game Pass users, Xbox Series XS, Xbox One, and future future Xbox users as well. So give me your thoughts and comments. Make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on. Got that Twitter and Twitch as well, and I appreciate y'all so much for watching. First place.